Yeah, so this thinking about stuff and going into myself to learn about myself and to learn about the world while I'm fasting, it worked. I found out that I'm a bigoted asshole sometimes. I mean, I knew that already, and if you don't know that about yourself, you probably should do something like I do right now too, because everyone kind of is to some extent or another. You have heard about Greta Thunberg, this little girl who started the Fridays for Future, who I generally admire, and if I still went to school, I would probably do Fridays for Future, even though sometimes it's kind of hard for me to admit that something is more important than stuff like schoolwork. But honestly, this is our planet is obviously more important than schoolwork. And a cartoonist or comic artist, whatever, from my hometown did a very, very nice cartoon. I'm going to show you an English translation of that if I can figure out how to do that. I want to. You know that this YouTube live stream stuff is some bullshit, right? I'm gonna do this. Yes. So there is a greater Thunberg fish. There is a fish screaming at her. And she says, "There's a crack in the bowl." And she says, "First, concentrate on your math homework." It's hard to read because, if I see it in the webcam, I see it the way around. Can anyone actually explain how I could do this the proper way? Because I have done this before. I have shared my screen before. Why can't I do this now? Does anyone know? By the way, hi to whoever just got here and got out again because I was talking about my new details instead of what I actually wanted to talk about. Yeah, so Greta Thunberg. Obviously, she's great, but it's hard for me to see that way because of something I learned. What I learned is that she is autistic, which, as you probably know, I am too, and I haven't met another person who also shares my disability who I don't hate. And I see disability not as something that should be accepted, but as something that should be overcome. I have no idea what she thinks about it. So maybe she completely agrees with me. But as I learned that, like the first reaction was, oh, that makes it even more difficult. Like for me, I know this is wrong, but it's just who I am, and it's just weird that you can see that someone else is right and you're wrong, but in your heart you're still thinking, I should just hammer on with what I'm thinking. It's sometimes very hard to change your ways, and yeah, reflection sometimes doesn't help. It just makes me at least more angry and shit at myself and at the world and at my parents for creating me, even though they knew about the dangers of me being disabled. It is I don't I don't know. So why is this identity so important to you? Is a question by Daiku Coffee. Hello, Daiku. Um, the identity of being disabled is important to me because it affects my daily life. And it is actually not important to me uh, like some other identities could be important to someone. Obviously, I have some identities that are important to me. I which I like and wouldn't chat, but this is one that is something I would give up if I could. Thanks for this very, very good question. And if I knew who you are, I would invite you to the stream right now if you wanted to. If not, it's okay. I kind of guess that you are someone I'm aware of, and I can't make any connections right now because just look at this. I have very few subscribers, and you just showed up. So thank you. Should I question to you and to anyone else who happens upon this later? Should I make a longer video about this and maybe talk with other disabled people about it? I really want to talk about this with other disabled people. So if you are disabled, get on here. Or if you are related to someone who is disabled, if you have like somewhere, especially because I can give you advice on this, I think. If you are the parent or the aunt or uncle, whatever, of someone with autism, especially Asperger autism, I think we could have an interesting talk, and I might give you some tips. But yeah, if you, Daiku Coffee, you could be anyone. So I'm not going to address this to you, even though you asked the question, which was really good. Just to anyone who has a question like, why is this identity so important to you? Most people who have a question like this are straight, white, able-bodied cis men. So the top 5 of the default people, everyone just thinks you are these 5 things if you aren't telling them otherwise. So they sometimes have a hard time understanding that if you aren't exactly that, and I'm not 2 of those things, I'm not able-bodied and I am not straight. I am white, I'm a guy, and I'm cis, but the other 2 things I'm not. But people who are sometimes have a hard time understanding how this affects a lot of aspects of their lives, how you can just not ignore it. It's just who you are. And I think that 4 of those things are like good or bad. Like, it doesn't matter whether you are male, female, or something else. It doesn't matter if you are white, black, what have you. If you are straight, gay, bi, pan, I don't care. But or what I forgot is if you are cis or trans. But if you are able-bodied or disabled, that just affects your life negatively. It is easier to live, and if you are able-bodied, and it makes things easier for other people if you are able-bodied. I hope that makes sense. If you are still watching, because I'm seeing that someone is, does that answer your question? Yeah, tell me later if you want to, and if not, don't. I'm interested to know anyone's. There you are. No worries. I'm always here to answer your question. Not right now, because I'm fasting YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Reddit, because I'm fasting a lot of things that aren't healthy for me, and I don't think this stuff is healthy for me. This is kind of what these fasting hangouts are about. But if you have a question, feel free to check me and maybe my co-conspirator on this YouTube thing out on Facebook and Twitter. She is usually a bit more busy because I'm just doing some hours working and she's actually studying. So I don't think she can answer questions before I can, but check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and nobody writes us or nobody listens. Anywhere you could look for us. And yeah, thank you for the interesting question. If you have anything more, just I'm always looking for topics. See you next week, I guess. Until then, yeah. Check out the earlier questions I asked in the earlier Hangouts.